Welcome to Dadograms. In today's Dadogram, I'm going to talk to you about sometimes how the smallest mistakes can cost you so much. But with a little planning and attention to detail, you could avoid these mistakes and possibly avoid some big losses in your life. For those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Jason Garrett, a retired Navy commander and pilot. I'm also a dad who created Dadograms to keep teaching my children and all of you how to win in the great game of life. And if you've been watching these videos for a while and realize my voice sounds a little different, I do have a cold, but I am trying to keep on schedule, so I'm trying to push through. To start out, I'll tell you the quick story that truly taught me how a small mistake can have dire consequences. Hopefully, it will make some sense to each and every one of you and something you can take with you far into the future. This story takes place way back in 2002. Our nation had been attacked by terrorists about a year earlier during the 9/11 attacks, and I was on deployment in the war zone, half a world away. On this particular day, we were assembled on the flight deck of the cruiser USS Normandy. We being every single person that wasn't on duty that day, including our air department. Now, our air department flew nights and we slept days. So for us to be up, it was a pretty serious discussion that we were going to have. The boss, the commanding officer of the ship, had some important word he wanted to share with all of us. Things were getting tense out there as we were the shotgun cruiser for the USS George Washington, meaning it was our job to keep the carrier safe from any threat, whether it was under the waves, on top of them, or in the air. Now, everyone was tired and edgy after a long and stressful time at sea, and the commanding officer was kind of getting unhappy with how things were starting to shape up for the crew. We stood on the flight deck waiting for him to yell at us, because our boss was one of those bosses. He was a yeller. I can still remember standing there, engines at idle, as the ship drifted along the swells, rocking and rolling. It was a beautiful day, but frustrating as we just stood there waiting. And occasionally a gust of wind would whip the tops off the swells, blowing salt spray up and over the superstructure, and it would blow down on us. And I kind of could look up and it kind of made rainbows in the air as it swirled around, fell on us. Now, I don't know if you ever stood out in the sun as salt spray was doused on you over a few minutes. Pretty soon that wind begins to start drying away all that salt spray, and it gets very, very itchy. So we just stood there waiting and itching for what seemed like an eternity. Finally, our captain stepped out of the hatch in the hangar face doors. And as always, you could tell he was pissed. His face was all scarlet, the veins in his neck stood out, and his eyes bulged outward. I was thinking, well, it's probably best that we're damp with salt spray because we're about to get hot with flame spray. But weirdly enough, this time was different. He didn't yell at us at all. He found his way to the podium, picked up the microphone, and spoke calmly about the need to pay attention to the smallest details in the life and death work we were doing out at sea. Then, to illustrate the point, he read a very short poem to us. Yes, the old man read us a poem. Hearing him read the poem illustrated a point in the way I had never heard before, and it made a lasting impression on me that I still remember after all of these years. It helped me understand the importance of the smallest detail and how it can impact so much. And you may find it useful as you move forward in school or in work and life. So, here it goes. It's titled, For Want of a Nail. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost. For want of a rider, the message was lost. For want of a message, the battle was lost. For want of the battle, the war was lost. And all for the want of a horseshoe nail. Now, if you think about it, small things really can matter. Or as we like to say in the Navy, you've got to pay attention to detail. Whether that's making sure you have cash or access to money when you need it, studying that extra section in the book that you think won't be on the test, but might be, plugging your cell phone in so it's ready in case of a crisis, getting proper rest before exams or presentations at work, making sure your car is properly maintained, that you've had the oil changed, that the tires are in good shape, or that you've noticed when you drive out of the parking lot there's a weird puddle that kind of glows a funny green color right underneath the car. That's a possible sign that your car's water pump's going out. Or heck, even making sure that the car has enough gas in it to get to the place you need to go. These are just a few quick examples of the small stuff we skip or overlook just about every single day. They seem trivial, but they can affect so much if they fail us at the wrong time. Here's more. How about when you have to travel? Have you ever packed for a trip and forgotten something as simple as a phone charger? That's hard when you travel in your home country. It's hell when you fly international and now you're dealing with entirely different voltages in the electric system. This oversight can leave you stranded without communication or navigation. For job interviews, not planning to get there half an hour early and instead getting stuck in traffic and showing up 5 minutes late. That can cost you the job. In your relationships, when you get the call to pick something up on your way home, like picking up milk or some crucial item needed for dinner, and you forget, that can cause stress and friction. Believe me, I know. And how about boring old safety gear? Ever forgotten to put your seatbelt on? Luckily, you must not need it this time. In the Navy, a harness or a seatbelt in an aircraft isn't a nice to have thing. It's crucial. It keeps you secure to your aircraft so you can actually maneuver it correctly. But sometimes people do forget. I've known guys flying jets with ejection seats who've gotten into very difficult flights who almost thought they had to eject. Sweating bullets, they land, they go to start unstrapping their harness, unstrap their parachute, and realize, my God, I was never strapped into my parachute. Now, can you imagine ejecting out of an aircraft at several hundred miles an hour just to find out there's no parachute strapped to you? That would be a rough ride. You can't do that. You have to pay attention to details. Now, I know life gets busy, and it's easy to forget the tedious little things when your mind is juggling multiple tasks and you're focused on the really important things. So here are a few practical techniques to help you stay on top of the small but crucial details. 1. Use checklists. Pilots live by the checklist, and you can too. Write down essential tasks for daily routines, travel prep, or work projects to make sure nothing slips through the cracks. Now, I talked exclusively about this in Dadogram 11, titled Stop Forgetting Things, How Checklists Can Simplify Your Life. Go back and watch it. It will help. Trust me. Set reminders. Use your phone's reminder app to alert you about deadlines, appointments, and small but essential tasks like charging your devices. And use your calendar to do the same thing. You can put in a daily schedule of events into your calendar of the small stuff that you don't want to forget. Create habits. Try to make important actions automatic. For example, always plug in your phone as soon as you get home, or lay out your clothes for the next day before going to bed. Embrace the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, then do it immediately. This keeps small tasks from piling up and being forgotten. Next, visual cues. There's so many ways to use these. Putting sticky notes where you'll see them, or place items you need by the door as a reminder before you leave. Putting sticky notes on your steering wheel or over the speedometer or on the inside door handle can also help you get out of the car with everything that you need in the morning. And speaking of sticky notes, if something pops into your mind that you need to do, write it down. Add it to a list and then get it done. You typically won't forget anything if it is written down and you can read it. I love sticky notes. In fact, I might have a whole Dadogram just on the power and thrill of the sticky note. And finally, mindful review. Before heading out or finishing your day, take 2 minutes to calm down and mentally review what you've done and what still needs your attention. And then either jot it down or go forth and actually accomplish it real quick. All of these things can help you focus on the small stuff so you don't forget it. Because if you forget the small stuff, you have to reprioritize things and they suddenly become the big stuff. Get it? All right. That's all I have in this Dadogram. I hope it made an impact and can help you continue to win in life. Now, before I let you go, please subscribe to this channel and check out some of my older Dadograms. Unlike many channels that talk about recent news or trends, the lessons in Dadograms are timeless. They'll always be here for you to reference so you can learn from them and keep winning in life. Thank you.